But I don't think Newcastle progress from this. I think it's drop off, finish in Europe, drop off, finish in Europe, drop off, finish in Europe. And my big concern would be as a Newcastle fan. And I was thinking about Newcastle after the Champions League because I watched the first half of them against Barcelona. I want to be clear, I don't have anything against Eddie Howe. I think a few people have said that to me, like, what have you got against Eddie Howe? Nothing. I like Eddie Howe. I think he's done a great job at Newcastle. I think winning the Carabo Cup is huge to him. He's got a trophy in the bag there that's been missing from that club for a long time. I like Newcastle. If I wasn't a Liverpool fan and I had an English team, it probably would be Newcastle, to be quite honest with you. So I've got nothing against the guy, but my thought on this with Newcastle is, where are you guys going to go from here? And I understand breaking into the top 4 and 5 is very, very difficult financially. Teams are a lot far ahead of you. You've not been allowed to spend your money, and we can have that debate and that argument about the rules over to the side here on another day, on another video probably. But just in terms of what I see football pitch and what I feel watching it is that any time so far twice, and I've had a little look at it and you guys will see it come up on the screen, but any time I've seen Newcastle make the Champions League, they really struggled the next season. And I want to be able to see an improvement in Eddie Howe being able to deal with European football and being able to have these games during the week. You talk about people wanting to give Michael Carrick the Manchester United job, and right now everyone's saying, well, he's only getting one game a week, sorry. Yeah, he can't, that's not his fault. He can only perform on what he's got, but it is a true test that when you get to that level and you've got these European games and you're a big name, especially at Manchester United, or, you know, big expectations from a club like Newcastle, you're going to have to be able to handle that and deal with it. So I had a quick look at it. Eddie Howe comes in, they finish 11th in his first season, then a huge jump up, they finish on 49 points, gets him to 71 points and they come 4th. And obviously what he built was this kind of real solid, hard team, you know, it's good signings, likes of Bruno Gomes, Joe Linton's in the mix, you know, turns them into midfielder, all that kind of good stuff, right, that they do. They then struggle and they drop off and they finish 7th on 60 points. I think first time round, first go at it, Champions League football, probably a bit ahead of schedule where you thought you would be in terms of finishing the league. I've got no problem with that. Just show you can learn. Show you can learn. The following season, they jump back up. They finish 5th, right? We know they get in the Champions League and we know they've just gone out to Barcelona. They get 66 points, so 6 points better off. They're currently sitting in 9th on 42 points. We've got 8 games to play and they're, what, a good 24 points off of what they got last season. Now, I don't expect Newcastle in the Europe, in the Champions League, to have really got any further than they did. I figured Barcelona would beat them at the Nou Camp. I don't think Barcelona are great. They might come into it a little bit more as the Champions League goes on. It's Europe, it's the Nou Camp, it's Barcelona, all those things. So I didn't expect Newcastle to go any further than they did, to be quite honest. I think where they've got to, fair play, good achievement. They got through the qualifying phases and they made it there. So again, well done. But I don't think Newcastle progress from this. I think it's drop off, finish in Europe, drop off, finish in Europe, drop off, finish in Europe. And my big concern would be as a Newcastle fan, when you're in that mix and you kind of say, oh no, well, we like Eddie Howe, he's won us the cup and he's done all this, and all of those things are true, as I said at the start of this video. But I think you're asking for a little bit of trouble. I think we're seeing that with Spurs. You know, that Pochettino time period where it was like second and you thought maybe a league title at that time period in the league. And then it's just been kind of drifting off and, all right, yeah, Spurs are kind of in Europe and they're 4th and they're 5th and sometimes they just miss out. But then they kind of lost themselves who they are. And they find themselves where they find themselves. And like they may not go down. I don't think they will go down. If I use another example from a different league, Hearts a lot of the time in that time period under Stephen Naismith, where they were coming 3rd and it was 3rd and 3rd. And fans were like, well, we can't challenge the old firm. It's impossible. We're happy to stay 3rd, but then it was the same with Hearts. It was like balancing that Europe and you know, there's different reasons they're a different league and the budget Hearts have compared to Newcastle. I know all of that. But again, I'm just talking from a football point of view. I always thought you're going to be in trouble a little bit here when you're just coasting on that level of just kind of being happy with that and not kind of trying to work out how to get to the next step, which may be extremely difficult and may not be possible. But I think you have to be showing that you're making those steps there. And then for Hearts' example, all of a sudden it's a steep drop off and you're all down the bottom of the league and you don't really know what's happening. And just again, talking from the football point of view, I just think that comfortability really it can be a bit of an issue. And I think Newcastle just need to watch out for that. I just worry where they go. And people might say to me, well, how do you expect us to get into there? Look, I don't have the answer to that. I think the team is good. I think it's lost its steel. I think that the type of side Newcastle were was tough, and I think that you're going to lose the likes of Tonali. I think someone will come in for Tonali. Arsenal might make a run at it. I would love Liverpool to make a run at it. Other bigger teams in Europe, I think he's brilliant. I think he can do everything in the middle of the park. I think he's literally one of those midfielders that can do it all. Obviously, Bruno Gomes is good. I feel like he has a bit more of an emotional tie to Newcastle than someone like Tonali does. But you're going to start to lose these guys that you've brought in, and you haven't quite progressed the squad along and kind of gotten that advancement, and it'll be a task to see how you deal with that, and then you have that drop off as well. I don't know, Newcastle fans, let me know what you think. Just in general, football fans, let me know what you think with that. Just think it's a bit of a dangerous place to be floating in. Just a bit of a dangerous place, and it all seems all right and hunky-dory for 2, 3, 4 years, and then all of a sudden you're like, how the hell did we get here? But I'm being 32 now and seeing football and seeing how it happens. You know, there's plenty of examples you can point to, and like I say, I like Newcastle. I don't want to see that happen to them.